Okay.
Yeah.
Well, up to
So that's good.
120. But
Um,
okay, here we are. Hi, and welcome to Running Book Reviews podcast.
yeah, for a talk on everything you wanted to know about pickle juice or nursing and medical books, but also some running as well.
No,
Yeah.
mostly running. So we're getting
So
on to the running now.
we're going to cover 10 books. We'll basically do what we normally do. We'll just go through the books, list the books, and just do one or two comments on the things that stuck with us on the books or that were interesting or we think you might find interesting about the books. And then we'll list the books in the notes. If you want to go back, you can listen to the whole episode if you haven't listened to the whole episode. Or even if you have, you can listen to it again. There's special bonuses for listening to the podcasts multiple times.
Uh, there are.
Yeah, you get to remember more of what you listen. That's the special bonus. Yeah. So
Okay, that was a good
so
one.
we'll
Good
go
save
through
there, Alan.
we'll go through the yeah. I've got no giveaways. I've got no freebies. Um, just a caffeine bullet code if you want to go and get that 20%
Yeah.
off. I guess as we go through, we could just do a little summary on maybe just let people know what we did with our marathon running in the fall because we commented a little bit in some of our podcasts about training, and then we
But
left
what
everybody
if people are here to like listen to the book overviews?
they've
How about we do
already
the
turned off probably.
because I was talking about pickles and nursing books. Okay.
Uh,
Well,
yeah, but we can do the books, yeah, and we'll get to it if
I,
we
I
got
say we do the books and then we
yeah,
could do the marathon chat at the end. How about that?
good.
Okay.
So the first book is Unbound by Bill Donahue.
Which is basically a whole bunch of short stories about
Yeah.
endurance athletes, um, or other kinds of endurance, feats of endurance, I guess you'd say, because it talks about like the army in the Arctic and
I guess written Bill Donahue is like a very professional sort of journalist, and they're written in a very sort of journalistic, professional manner.
mhm.
So, and about all kinds of different subjects.
But all around endurance sport and
Mm.
endurance. So actually, I learned about a new endurance sport in that book, which is stair climbing. I didn't know that was a sport, but people travel all over the world to do these stair climbing competitions, and they have to climb a lot of stairs.
I guess anything could be a sport, but yeah,
It can, but
it's a
like
mega endurance sport though.
it is, but also, I know there aren't any professional endurance athletes doing this kind of thing because there's like no money in it, but people, they travel all over the world to do these competitions, so
Mm.
there's something to it, I think.
One of the cool things I found with Bill Donahue is he inserts himself into
Environment.
yeah, if he can. Um,
Hmm.
I was sort of super impressed and kind of stunned when he went on the Arctic survival trek with the Marines.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, you could die on things like that if you're
Hmm.
not prepared properly.
Yeah.
Um, I certainly wouldn't have done that. Yeah. The other aspect, so there was some things that were like not running but endurance related, and he was inserting himself in. And the other aspect were he was doing stories about personalities,
Hmm.
either famous people or people doing crazy things.
I guess one of my favorites was learning about Sarah Marquis, who is a female explorer. I don't know, I just always find that kind of inspirational because, I'm kind of like a worrier.
We'll get
And
to that.
so
We'll get to that book
we,
later.
we get to that book later, but yeah, she seems like a warrior, and I don't know, I find that super inspiring, and I guess, I'd like to be more like that. She goes to countries where women aren't as free as they are, here in North America, or I think she's from France. So, women are independent and free in France, kind of like here, but she
Yeah.
goes to some other countries where it's not the case, and she does things like she dresses like a man, so that she kind of goes on,
Doesn't attract attention. Yeah.
yeah, sort of flies under the radar. And I thought that it's a good strategy. but it must be kind of scary sometimes.
The two things that I remembered just writing down stuff about Unbound by Bill Donahue was the article about Henry Rono.
Oh yeah.
Henry Rono was, world record holder, multiple world record holder, and how he's sort of fallen from grace. He seems to have alcohol problems, and
Was
it was kind of
homeless.
it was kind of a sad story
Yeah.
about, we see these people in their prime, and we that's how we remember them. But, life is not always kind to them afterwards. That was
Hmm.
kind of a sad story. The other thing that was completely wacky was the guy, his name was Carl Bushby. He was hiking around the world,
Oh yes. Yeah. And he got stuck. Was it in Mexico because he was waiting for
stuck for
permission?
visas. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for permission to enter Russia. Or that might be the
Yeah,
wrong order of things, but
he crossed the is it the Bering Strait? That goes from Alaska into Russia by climbing across ice floes, but then he was deemed to have illegally entered Russia. So then he was held up for like a year or something trying to get visa permission. And then he
hmm.
got held up in Iran. So he's been trying to hike around the world for, I don't know, about 5 years or something. And he lives in the UK, but he said that he won't go back to the UK until he hikes in there. I think he's getting pretty close now.
Oh, have you been following him?
I didn't check up with him, but
Okay.
he was in Europe. Absolutely crazy thing. I mean, he sacrificed his whole life almost to this
Yeah.
venture,
You know
and
what? I was
no one will
sad.
really hear about it.
No, unless you read Bill Donahue's book
Yeah.
or the article that he wrote. I don't know where that article was published, but yeah, the sad thing that I found was he had a lot of regret about missing his son's life, sort of.
Yeah.
Because his son, I think when the article was published, his son was 9 and he had already been like a few years pursuing this goal. And I think he had been back home or had contact with home, but but yeah, he was kind of missing his son growing up, and he had a lot of regret. Regret's an interesting thing because because I worked in healthcare. Sometimes when people are at the end of their life, they regret a lot of things.
Hmm.
Usually, it's all the things they didn't do. So I
Yeah.
was part of me wonders, it's like, now he's having this regret. He regrets not being there for his son, but then if he had been there for his son, would he regret not having
Had a life sort of
tried
thing. Yeah.
this like I don't know, this bucket list goal that he has?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
He's currently in Romania. I just looked it
Oh,
up just
okay.
while we were talking.
Okay.
So he has 3,000 miles left, and he's covered 47,000 miles.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot of miles. Okay. Well, he's almost home then.
And that's just one story. There are about 20 stories in there.
Yeah.
So fascinating book.
On to the next one, which is a lot more running.
Yeah.
Which it was Run Less, Run Faster by Bill Pierce and Scott Murr. So I guess, we covered this book in detail, and I think we talked about it a couple other times on a few other episodes, but
Yeah.
the whole idea of this book is that you run less, so it's for athletes that are kind of either injury prone or athletes that enjoy multiple sports, I think.
Mhm.
But the idea is that you run only 3 days a week, but you run hard those 3 days. And
Yeah, it's kind of your VO2 max run, your tempo run, and your long run, and they all
yeah,
have very specific prescribed paces.
yeah, yeah. And they all feel hard.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And so when we talked to Bill and Scott, at one point I think it came up like I don't remember what we asked, but it was something like, well, why would you want to run less?
Yeah, because we're
Or
runners.
is yeah. Um and yeah, they said like, well, it's not for everybody, but they said like they have a lot of people that succeeded on this plan and, enjoyed the plan. And they said it's run less, but it's not train less. Like you
Yeah,
still
because
have to
you've got
put
to
in
do
the
your
hours.
yeah, you've got to do your aerobic base through other means.
Yeah.
The other means
Yeah.
that they suggest are cycling or swimming or
Uh,
rowing,
yeah. And
I think.
don't they mention something like elliptical as well? But it's not one of the
Yeah.
preferred things. But yeah. You could do it a different way. Yeah, I mean, I tried some of the workouts in the book just to see, like based on the paces that
Mm,
I should have been running, and they were hard, but I didn't
yeah.
stop running the other days, so
Yeah.
so I mean, I don't know, but in general, I don't really like the other sports as much as I like running, and easy runs are like my favorite runs. I do
Yeah.
intervals so that I could get faster, but
So basically
like what I
it's not for you in
it's
that
not for
case.
me. But I was talking to my husband about it and he's like, "Oh, that sounds great. So it means I can bike and run."
Yeah.
Because he likes to cycle. I like to cycle 1 day, 2 days, and then I'm tired of cycling.
Yeah. And then next week you don't want to cycle at all, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah, I
he
mean,
loves to cycle.
I, I I've done swimming in the past, but my technique at swimming is poor. So swimming exhausts me. So
Yeah.
doing the distances and the speeds that, I'd have to do, I'd probably find that debilitating.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is that, I mean, maybe if you're a triathlete, you'd succeed in this because
Mm.
you've got fitness in the other sports.
Yeah, it's kind of what I did because I had a couple of people who I was coaching, who said, "Oh, I can only run three days a week, but I want to, beat my PR for the half marathon."
Hmm.
I said, Why can you only run 3 days a week?" And they said, "Well, I'm doing CrossFit and I'm training for a triathlon as well."
Okay.
So they
Yeah.
got all this stuff. So, and a couple of the people I've trained them in the past. So I've known that that they're a bit injury resistant because I've tried them in the
Hmm.
past. So they're a known entity. So I gave them big chunks of this Run Less, Run Faster program. And in fact, they responded pretty well to it. They found it challenging. They were
And
getting
did they
there.
run a PB?
Mostly they did, yeah. Some people ran crazy PBs.
Yeah. Like Brandon,
Yeah,
your son-in-law.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 8, 9 minutes off their half marathon time.
Yeah, he did really well. But I think also it was just that he has more accumulated running now because, it was a struggle to get him to sacrifice CrossFit to start running. This year, I felt like there was more buy-in because he said he really wanted this goal. So, um, he was all in and he didn't really complain about the long runs.
No, but he was only one example. I mean, there were two other people. Um,
Okay.
I think the concern is that it can be like a lot
Hmm.
because the paces are quite demanding. But if you can cope with it, it can push you forward because the training's demanding. So if you survive
Hmm.
it, you come out the other end looking great. And
If you survive it, yep.
and and I followed the people very carefully to see how they were going. Each run to see if they were hitting the paces, and on hot days, counseling them not to try to hit the paces, for
Hmm.
example. And also, there were people that I knew had done training in the past and been able to cope with, the training in the past without getting injured. So figured that this was a step up rather than just pitching them in.
Yeah,
The good thing is if you like to be told in detail what to do, it tells you in detail what to do.
it does. Yeah.
On this day, run this at this pace in this manner.
Yeah, I think that's the most current version has it very specific because I think in the past the book didn't have so much detail. People requested that. And I get it. I mean, that's a little bit my only complaint with the book Advanced Marathon that we always follow the plan from
Hmm.
is that, there are no charts with paces. It's really like if you read the book, it says long run pace is, I don't know, this percentage faster than your or
Yeah.
slower than your marathon pace,
Target
let's say.
marathon pace plus 10 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, but no, but actually it doesn't say seconds, it's percentage. And
Oh,
so I had to go and like what I did was I took the number of seconds and then, I got the how much extra I'm supposed to
mm.
add in terms of percentage and that's how I'd calculated the paces. But I don't know, like I don't know how many people actually take the time to do that. So you can get it really wrong.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, it's nice to have the charts and everything. And Run Less, Run Faster has all of that, all the
Interesting book.
conversions, all the interval paces,
Yeah.
everything. Next book.
What If by Ashley Varley. What if question mark?
This is a just a story of his life is running. Um,
Hmm.
Self-published book. The basic story is that he started running and eventually runs a marathon. And I guess the one thing that kind of stood out for me in this book is that everyone runs for different reasons, and your reasons can also change with time. So in the book, actually, at one point, Ash explains that he was abused by his stepfather when he was a kid, and he decides to do this run in his old neighborhood. Basically, his reason for doing this run was that he wanted to confront his demons. And but that's not why he started running. He started running for completely different reasons. So, it's just interesting how things change over time, and something that often for a lot of people starts as like, oh, I want to get healthy, or oh, I want to lose weight, or something like that, but then evolves into something that has more meaning.
I think for everybody who's an enthusiastic recreational runner or amateur runner, we go through a thought process. I've certainly done this, and I'll bet that you've done it as well. That says, what if I committed in a very 100% manner in terms of just was able to. Usually, you do it after you've done a good run, and you go, "Oh wow, that was good."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, PR. Oh, I'm getting close to Boston qualifier, or I'm getting close to 3 hours, or I'm getting close to 4 hours, or I'm getting close to being able to run my first marathon, or whatever it is. But you have a good run, and then you go, I wonder what I'm really capable of doing.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have um, 3 children that I have to look after, or if I didn't have a full-time job that I have to go to, that I come home exhausted and I go training anyway, but I'm never at my peak. Or if I had a better nutrition program, or and so this is the what if in Ashley's story. What if you committed fully? What might you be capable of doing? And we see him doing that, and he achieves some amazing things for somebody who, to begin with, he's hitting sort of times and results that I think, oh, that I could do that. And by the end, he's doing things where I say, well, he's a superhuman. I couldn't possibly match that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and because of his commitment to it.
Yeah. But commitment is an interesting thing because I think sometimes there's diminishing return because if you commit too much, and you hold those goals too tightly, like you're always telling me, sometimes you're just disappointed repeatedly.
Yeah,
And actually, there are a lot of pro athletes that sort of talk about this because, they're paid to run and their whole life revolves around running. And
yeah.
sometimes, like having an extra outlet, like a different thing, is actually ends up being beneficial to them because they're like, okay, now I can
Mm.
run. I run, I enjoy running, and then I have something that distracts me from that. And so, some of them end up writing or,
Yeah, therein lies the wonderful subtlety of maximizing your potential. Because just as you were saying, commitment is a very intense, focused sort of term.
hmm
If I was to reframe that, We'll get on to chasing mastery later and talk about reframing. But if I was to reframe that, I could say, well, what if I was able to free myself or liberate myself from things that weren't helping to be able to engage with things that would support me to move forward rather than commitment, which is, well, then just push everything out of the way and just focus hard on running more and trying to get it, hit this training program. If you say, well, what if I was able to free up, you might find that, well, one of the things I need to do is I need to do some yoga, or I need to have a day where I have no pressure on my agenda, but I don't do any sport so that I get all of the hunger back. And
Hmm.
it's finding those things and finding what works for you because probably the recipe is different for everybody. Do you take caffeine when you run? Lots of people do because it's in gels and stuff. And caffeine's legal and it's been proven to work. There's actual science that shows that it improves your endurance running performance.
And there's anecdotal data from when you have your coffee in the morning and you go for a workout versus when you forgot to have your coffee or you didn't have time and you went for a workout and it was terrible.
And the trouble with coffee is there's a lot of liquid just to get your caffeine dose.
Yeah, so then you have to stop for the bathroom mid-workout. Very impractical. Which is where Caffeine Bullet comes in.
What's caffeine bullet, Liz?
It's a caffeine supplement. It's wrapped up like in a candy. So, and it tastes like candy. And you can get 100 milligrams or 85 milligrams, which is about a cup of coffee, but without the liquid.
So we've tried the mint flavor and the chocolate orange flavor, and they're both pretty yummy.
If you want to try them for yourself, we do have a 20% off discount code. So go to the link in the show notes and you can check out what Caffeine Bullet is and get your 20% discount.
Pretty generous.
It is pretty generous.
And we'll get a small benefit, so you're helping out the
Speaking of which, back to the podcast. Yeah. And oftentimes like the two things can complement each other. Yes, sometimes after a day of work, it's hard to go for a run. But sometimes once you've done the run after a hard day of work, okay, so like maybe you
Mhm.
didn't hit the interval paces or whatever. My previous coach used to say your body doesn't really recognize pace, it recognizes effort. So you get fitter with the effort you put in. And on race day, hopefully you're rested and, you've slept well the whole week before and, you've eaten all your carbs and all that stuff. And so you get more than you think you're going to get out of race day just because of that.
Yeah, so the book really shows Ash and the results that happen with Ash and his particular individual recipe for maximizing what he can do and taking on incredible challenges,
Yeah.
being able to fit that in and achieve. And he doesn't achieve all the things that he wants to very quickly, and he keeps at it. So, he has some degree of determination.
But also he doesn't have an easy life, I remember, because, he's got family and all of that, but it seems that running
Yeah.
can complement all those things.
And maybe to begin with, he's putting half of his effort into his life and half of his effort into running, and maybe he's ends up tilting that a bit. I don't know. I mean, we don't know what else is going on in his life. Um, so maybe he's, stopped some other hobbies and now he's doing just running.
My previous coach, John, used to say you can only be good at three things. This was
Okay.
one of his things. He would repeat this all the time. Because like at the time we were in school, because he was my coach during university, he would say, okay, so you have to do like school, or that could be work if you're working, or
Hmm.
maybe you're doing both school and work. Then you have family because you have to maintain your relationships. You're not really successful on your own. It's always kind of a team effort.
Hmm.
And so he said, then there's one spot left. And so you can choose for it to be running, or you can choose for it to be something else. And he kind of said that, and like obviously, there's a little leeway for that. You can sort of you can sort of, do a few other things on the side, but it was basically the idea was like
I
you
hope
kind of
so for
have to
your
make it a priority.
I hope so for your case.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've got more than a few things on the side sometimes. But
Yeah.
anyway, he always used to remind us of that. It was like that was his speech every time we would start cross country season. It was telling us about
Well,
how we have to focus.
one nice thing is reading the books. It brings back, previous learnings and reinforces some of the things that maybe you've already been shown or taught and forgotten, which is also cool.
Hmm.
That's true for all the books.
And I don't know, so maybe we should do Chasing Mastery next and then come back to Believe Training Journal
Okay.
because it's like you almost touched on Chasing Mastery because it's a little bit Ash is chasing his potential.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah,
little bit
it's
of the
it's
same thing.
it's a better segue.
Yeah. So Chasing Mastery by Matt Fitzgerald is basically his step to becoming the best runner
Yeah.
that you can be. He kind of breaks it down into pillars.
Yeah, it's not a training book per se. It's more a sort of running mindset book or,
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
attitude and approach, which, coming from Matt Fitzgerald has got such a wealth of experience and knowledge.
It's so interesting because he wrote so many books about the actual training. Like,
Yeah.
he wrote 80-20 and endurance diet and like
Run like
all
a
all these
pro.
run like a pro. Like he's got all the pro stuff. And this one was really different because it was you can actually in a way get more benefit out of this one
Hmm.
because it's like he tries to explain the nuance of running. And what mastering running really is
Yeah.
because it's yeah I guess it translates to a time on the clock but it's not the time on the clock.
I mean, well, the first very basic thing is, what's the best training that you can do? Or what's the best training? The best training is the one that you do. You can
Yeah,
say, well, the best training is, you know, this tempo for me or whatever. But if you don't like doing that, and every time an excuse presents itself, you use that. Oh, it's too wet. Oh, winter's here. Oh, I'm not. I'm feeling a twinge. You excuse yourself from those things. So you can have the theoretical best training, but if you don't love doing it, you're probably not going to do it. So he says the first thing is you have to be, you have to create an environment where you love your training. So you're doing what you love.
yeah, and he actually mentions this concept of hard fun,
Yeah.
which hard fun. So, okay, so you can't always be having hard fun. So that's just, just a little aside. But he said hard fun is just you kind of need to learn to enjoy the hard, like feeling those hard intervals.
Yeah. It's not so hard all the time that you hate it.
Hmm.
And it's not so easy all the time that you're not getting any benefit from it.
Because you need to obviously, in all training books, you have a wide range of paces. You need to train at all the efforts so that you can, improve different parts of your fitness. But this hard fun idea actually reminded me of John's description of tempo running. So, because we were running when I was in university, I mean there were GPS watches. I think Garmin had already come out with one or two versions, but they weren't like mainstream and they were pretty expensive and the battery life was terrible. So nobody really had them. I mean, not in the running space and especially not like Concordia students because, we had no money. So we weren't the prime candidates. So we had like a Timex watch, and that's fine in the summer. We would go and do like intervals on the track. But when you were doing tempo runs, you weren't usually on the track. You would just run somewhere where you could run hard for a long time and you didn't have too much like traffic, stop signs, all those other things that could get in the way of your running. And we used to have so for certain for certain tempo runs, we would actually have a specific place that we like John would bring us. So, for example, Summit Circle in downtown Montreal.
Hmm.
It's like this circle in I guess it is, I don't know if it's
In
Westmount there,
Westmount.
but it's got like, $1 million homes and it's like there's never any traffic and there's like a little park in the middle. And there was this road that basically had a median in it. So we used to run this section that was like down one side of the median, around the median, and back up the other side. And he used to always tell us this is 800 meters. So we'd go and do 800-meter repeats there. But like, I don't know if it was really 800 meters because I don't know. Sometimes it felt like a really hard 800 to be doing those, harder than usual. And then other times we would run tempo and he would just say like, we'd be like, well, how do we know if we're running the right pace? Because this is always my question. Like, I'm always like, how do I know if I'm doing it right?
Hmm.
And he used to say, well, it should be comfortably hard.
How do you feel? Yeah.
Yeah. And so now,
Well, that's what
now I
you
say
say to
this,
your people. You say,
now I
well,
say this.
it
Yeah,
should
but I
be
got it
a
from
it
John.
should be a 7 on 10 or something like
Yeah.
that. That's what
But he
you
didn't even, at the time, he didn't even tell us like effort
well, that's
levels.
because
I
the
mean,
RP index wasn't out then or something maybe.
yeah, he kind of got into that a little bit later because he used to prescribe everything on a Google spreadsheet because Google was like the Google Docs was something that, he could update and then we could update what we actually did.
Mhm.
So he used that from
So that was
almost
his
from the
version of
start.
hard fun.
Yeah, his version of
Yeah.
hard fun was like
Mm.
comfortably hard. So that's what
Yeah.
it reminded me of.
I mean, the danger is if you take it too far, you'll always be in the middle ground. So you'll be, and that's the danger with, beginner runners that you're gonna do all your runs in zone three because you'll go, oh yeah, it feels a bit hard, but it's kind of fun. Um,
Yeah. So you want to
no,
have hard
sometimes you
fun,
should
but you
have
don't want to
lots of
always have
hard
hard fun.
and not much fun, and sometimes you should have lots of fun and not much hard. Not
Yeah.
always equal quantities of hard and fun. Um,
Yeah. Then and chasing mastery is actually not just about the running. I mean, it is about running, but I guess it's about figuring out what makes you the best runner that you can be right now. And so this idea of mastery, it doesn't like stop when you hit a certain age or when you hit a certain time or you
mm,
can kind of always chase it. So
yeah.
it's kind of a good goal for people that I don't know, maybe have been running since they were young and are past their prime and need a different focus. This could be the focus.
Matt actually talks about something that he calls purposeful challenge. He says, you can set yourself a goal, like,
Hmm.
I don't know, run a 5K in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And you'll think, one day I'm going to run that because you've set yourself a realistic challenge. You'll be happy. But then what about the day after? Well,
Hmm.
the day after is you go, well, I wonder if I could do 23 minutes, and you reset your challenge. So,
Yeah.
in
Your
fact,
expectations
it's
always get
not
higher.
it's not the number, it's not the number necessarily. Um, you're going to disagree with me here, probably. It's not the number necessarily, but
Except for
it's the
my
fact that you
stupid.
have a challenge in front of you that brings you happiness. If you have a
Hmm.
purposeful challenge, that's what leads to happiness.
Yeah. Um, I think also though that, purposeful challenge, I mean, there's something to be said about it being attainable as well. You don't want to have it so out of reach that like you'll be so far from it that you're never going to get the benefit of that.
I guess that's where the purposeful comes in.
He talks about those
I mean, you can say I'm going to run a
setting
four
goals
minute
and
mile. I've never run
yeah.
faster than 5.5 minutes, so I'm going to run a 4 minute mile.
Yeah.
You're probably not. You've got to be, you've got to have some degree of realism.
Yeah. Well, I think that part is about setting realistic goals and purposeful challenge is more like setting yourself a challenge that means something to you. So actually, your ultimate challenge could be that 4-minute mile, even though you're currently running 5.5 minutes per mile. But like if you see that as your a goal that means something to you, then it can be a long-term goal. Maybe not in one season,
Yeah.
but you can say like, okay, well,
You need some
I want to
steps.
get to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So this season, how about I see if I can run like 4:45, or you go from 5.5 minutes to, I don't know, 5:15, and you chip away at it.
That's a purposeful challenge to chip away at it, see how you can do. Yeah. The other thing in chasing mastery that I loved is the reframing. I think that's pretty powerful. Talking about reframing, it's a mindset thing. The one I use all the time as an example is people who say they're nervous before a race, and we
Mm-hmm.
say, no, no, think about it. It's better to be excited. You chose to be here. What's the worst that could happen? Better to be excited about it and go in with a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what though? I know that, and I've been hearing that for a long time. And the marathon that I just did in October was like I had a really hard time with that. I was actually really nervous. Um, and I couldn't reframe it. And I was so nervous that like for the first 10 kilometers I felt like I was gonna vomit my breakfast. And then yeah, I don't know why. I just had such a hard time, getting my head around that
it's because
for some reason.
your run buddy wasn't there to make you
Maybe
laugh.
maybe that's why. I don't know. Yeah, I was I mean I ended up doing okay. Like I didn't fall apart like I had in the last few, the last few
Yeah, I
marathons
mean, you
where
had a much better marathon than I had at Chicago.
yeah,
Your pacing was very even, which is
but
kind
I
of
was
what you.
so nervous.
It's,
I was so nervous. Actually, I think Steph was there doing the half marathon, and I can't remember like when she said it, but at one point she's like, "You're really nervous, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was so nervous. I felt like, yeah, yeah, I don't know.
how
I don't know why. And I couldn't like I
you
know all
couldn't
these things,
reframe
right? And
yourself.
I
You
couldn't
knew all the
reframe it.
theory, but you couldn't practice it.
It was like a runaway train in my head.
Hmm.
It was so it was strange. It was like I couldn't get a handle on it, but I don't know. I don't know what that means, but maybe it just means that
Means
it's
you
not an
do,
easy thing to do.
and probably means you need to do a little bit more racing.
Maybe that's what it means. But, I thought I thought I'd covered my bases because I did the half marathon with you,
Yeah, I mean that went
but
well.
maybe I
You're
need more racing. Maybe I didn't have enough starting lines this year. Most of it because like I don't know. I'm it's avoidance behavior. I
yeah,
don't feel like
yeah.
I'm very fit, so I want to avoid the confirmation that I'm not very fit, and so I don't register for races. And it's stupid because like I like doing this and
We'll have to get Matt on and ask him to reframe all of that for you.
yeah, well, we had Matt on, but at the time I didn't have all these problems.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're holding it too tight, as we said. Um, but I think you made a deliberate effort this year not to hold it very tight. Say, okay, let's not worry about 3 hour marathons this year. Let's worry about having a good, a good race
Hmm.
and, with even splits and pushing it through till the end
Yeah.
and not so much worrying about the number on the marathon, trying to make the process work. And I think you did that.
I tried to do that at least, but I don't know if I mean, I think mostly I succeeded because, in training, I was very, I did a lot of training by myself, and that was just because like I'm taking these evening classes, and so I'm not available when the club's available, and you were training for a bit of a different marathon with a different strategy a little bit, so we didn't really train together this year. And I did a lot of my training by myself, and so it was very I would go out and yeah, so for let's say, if it was supposed to be VO2 max intervals, like I would try and hit the paces but all those medium long runs, I would kind of go out and And a lot of times I was mostly almost hitting paces that we were, doing together. Maybe last year when we had like a modified goal and we were going for I think we had moderated all our paces just so
Yeah.
that we could
So
hit
we
them in
paid them
the
back a
heat
bit.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so those paces I was kind of hitting and I wasn't really checking my watch or anything. It would just be after the fact because I'd come home and Andre loves to check my Strava and he checked my Strava and he was like, you're running fast. And I was like, oh, how fast did I run? And he would like read me the kilometer splits and I'd be like, oh, well,
Mm.
that would be like what I would be running if I was running with you.
Yeah.
But then the race came along, and it's like I still had all these expectations, not to run a sub 3 hour, but I think it was because I've had like over the last 2 years just so many crash and burn marathons where, you know, I just didn't do very well for different reasons. And mostly it was either I got injured in the training or I would just completely crash in the marathon after like 30K and just feel really awful. And I didn't not feel awful for this one, but I guess I was expecting to feel really awful, and maybe that was part of the nerves at the start line was just I just knew that the hard was coming, and it was like I had to run 30 kilometers before the hard is gonna come, and so you're not that you're dreading it, but you're kind of just waiting for it because sometimes it comes too early, and then yeah, you worry about that. Anyway, so maybe
And
we should go on to the next book about worriers and warriors.
it's a good segue. It's a good segue to Believe Training Journal by Lauren Fleshman and Ro McGettigan-Dumas.
hmm So this is
Yeah.
not really a book. It's a training journal.
Yeah. It
But
has like a few pages each month. It has like 1 or 2 pages of like preamble, which give you some info or some tools.
mhm.
So it's a pretty extensive journal from that point of view.
Yeah. And so the whole thing about the worriers and the warriors is that at one point there is a quiz because they explain there are two types of runners. There are worriers and then there are warriors. And based on the way you answer the questions, and like, you can overlap a little bit. It's not like it's not like black and white. You're either one or the other.
Mm,
But it's like whichever section you have more of the criteria is basically like where you fall. And warriors need to have a different strategy to deal with, I guess, adversity, unpredictability, whatever, all those things in
hmm.
races than warriors.
Yeah.
So warriors, they worry about everything. So basically, the trick is to have like a plan, so
Yeah.
and you think about all the scenarios and you have
Take
a plan for
all the
how you're gonna,
decisions out
yes,
ahead of time if you can.
yeah,
Mm.
or not that you take the decisions out ahead of time, but you have a plan for if certain things happen, so that if they happen, you don't worry about them because you have a plan, so you can focus on executing the plan. Whereas warriors,
Hmm.
they're a bit more like they don't really plan and they just figure like I'm just gonna dive in head first and see what happens. I mean, that's an oversimplification, but they're more of those kinds of people. And so they tend to maybe go in a little underprepared, not underprepared like physically in terms of training, but underprepared in terms of like scenario planning. And the idea is that it's you can be successful with both, but warriors for sure they thrive on sort of having problems to solve during, I guess, the race in this case. Warriors, it can be overwhelming for them, so they actually need to pre-plan because otherwise they'll be paralyzed by the worrying. We're just a bunch of basket cases.
I guess from my point of view is I like to have a default plan and have a good idea of what I'm going to try to do
Hmm.
and maybe have a fallback plan. But basically be aware that I can't plan for everything, so let's not over plan and let's stay on, just stay on your toes and get ready to just be realistic with whatever happens. So then I don't have to worry whether I've got everything covered because I know there are more things in life than I can cover.
I know that too, but I don't know. I guess like part of life is failing, and in running, you can fail, which is one of the great things about running is that, like you can fail at something and it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to me,
Hmm.
but it doesn't matter to anybody else. Like it's not like my husband will leave me or like I'll lose my job or, so you can, I guess, take risks that you can't take anywhere else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I don't like failing.
Yeah. And it's less, it's not meaningful. It's not that meaningful if it goes wrong.
No.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
You go, oh, I wish it would have been better. But you did all the prep for it, and the prep itself was kind of a good thing to have in your life.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess you have to keep it in perspective. But, like if if the training was fun and it went well and then the race doesn't go as planned, is it still worth it? I mean, it is because you got, months of hope and like fun and running with people and maybe, you know, sharing thoughts during runs and exchanging ideas about running.
And you get all the health and fitness that comes with the training,
Yeah.
all the feel
And then
good.
yeah. And maybe on race day it doesn't work out the way you wanted, but at least you got all those months of other stuff. And
If you're
it's
too worried
hard though.
about if you're too worried about how the marathon executes on race day, you should probably do more halves because you can do more of them, and then each one is worth less.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I guess for me the half is it also is kind of a hard distance.
Hmm.
Like I feel like it takes out of me maybe more than it should. Like I run a hard half and it's not quite like the marathon. The marathon is unique in that way. Often after marathons, like for the first, half hour, I don't know if I should lie down, drink water, or
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
I, I can identify with that. Particularly on a warm day, I don't know where to go and what to do.
yeah, you just feel kind of like really terrible. Um, and but I kind of get a little of that in the half marathon as well, just not for so long. So I feel like, you get over it a bit faster, but I mean, I don't know, it's the days afterwards, I feel like sometimes a half marathon is it's the same effect. I mean, I can walk down the stairs better maybe, but
You have to
just
recover
barely.
quicker. You have to recover quicker from a
Yeah.
half marathon.
Yeah. I do, but yeah, quickly enough to turn around and do another one in a few weeks. I'm not sure, but you know what? Maybe it's worth a try. Like maybe that's what I need to do a little of in the spring. Maybe I need to do a spring
Yeah.
half marathon.
Yeah, I kind of think it's your mindset a little bit worrier versus warrior. I think if you compared our efforts, I think you would find that over the last 5 years, you've been quicker than me on an event 50% of the time. Whereas if I was to ask you, okay, don't look at it. Tell me how many times have you beaten me in a marathon versus the other way around, or in a half marathon? You'd say, oh, you probably win like 80% of the time or 75% of the time, but that's probably not true. It's probably just perspective. And the fact that I've been able to do one of the races that was under the 3 hours. Um,
I mean, maybe, but
I mean, if you look at Toronto and Wine Glass, I was quicker than you. If you look at
Yeah.
Longueuil, you were quicker than me. If you look at, the
Was
marathons
I?
we've
I was quicker than you in Longueuil.
absolutely, you ran away from me. You finished in 3:15. I
Uh,
finished in 3:19. See, you've forgotten
oh
that because
yeah.
your mindset doesn't work like that. Um, if you take the marathons that we've just run, okay, we were on different courses, but we're basically training the same way, same manner.
Same-ish. I
Yeah,
think
you
this
were
year
you
was
were
we were very different in training, but I
you were
mean, you
but you
did
were
just as
quicker than
many
me,
Ks.
but you were quicker than me. If you take if you take spring when I ran London, I don't know what you ran then, but whatever you ran, you would have been quicker than me.
I think I didn't run anything, so I was not
Yeah.
quicker than
But
you.
if you
Wait,
if
did
you
I run anything in
if
the
you'd been
spring?
if you'd been bothered to turn up for something, you could have run quicker than me. Um, some of it's mindset. I just shrug it off and keep going. And I kind of feel, I'm not, I'm not like super happy with the time, but that's okay. That's what happens. Moving on.
Yeah.
And and maybe it's just the fact that I've got a couple of sub threes in my repertoire. It doesn't mean as much to me, maybe.
Yeah. I don't even know why, like, really need this sub three, but I don't know, like, part of me just feels like I was so close. And then, I don't know, I've been chasing it for so many years. It's almost like now I don't even know how to not chase it. It's like, it's just been the goal for so
You
long.
can't
And
keep doing the podcast
historically,
if you give up on your 3 hour
well,
marathon.
that's
We've
it
got
also,
nothing to
like,
talk about.
yeah. And you know what? I think, like historically, when I was running with my previous club, so this would have been like more than 10 years ago, I was better at longer distances. Like that was always my thing. I was always,
Hmm.
the longer the distance, the better I
Yeah,
placed.
yeah.
And then there was a shift, and I don't know, for some reason, I became better at like 5K, 10K, and comparatively not as good at, marathons, half marathons.
Well, you kicked my butt pretty hard at the 50K trail race.
Well, that's true, but it was hot.
Yeah.
So that's to my advantage because heat is our great equalizer, Alan. You're fitter than me, but I can handle the heat better than you.
That's been true in the past.
Yeah. So anyway, all that to say, chasing mastery
No,
can give you an edge. Oh no, we're not talking about chasing mastery anymore.
no.
Okay. All that to say that the Belief Training Journal can help you identify all the spots where you're weak.
The simple phrase take homes that I got from Believe Training Journal, I've got them written down here. Take risks. So that's just what we're talking about.
Hmm.
Um, take risks, but park your ego. Don't get your self-worth wrapped up in what you're going to do. And focus on the process. So be process focused because you can work the outcomes of the process.
Hmm.
You can't necessarily force the outcome on marathon race day.
They talk about dreaming, like dare to dream,
Hmm.
and one of the prompts for like dreaming is the question that you should ask yourself is what would you do if you could not fail? So like what is the thing that you'd want to do if you knew that you wouldn't fail, basically? And because I think sometimes we don't dream big because we figure that we're not good enough to attain it. But like the idea of dreaming is, the dreaming part is like one thing, but then attaining it is a different thing. And having the dream is worth having, even like whether or not you attain it in the end, because it can keep you motivated and
Yeah. And if you don't
engaged with the
attain it, maybe
process.
you'll attain something that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. And so the bigger you dream, maybe the further you'll get, but maybe you won't attain the dream, but you know,
So
you'll
next year's marathon goal is 2 hours 30.
well, Sarah Hall is like not that much younger than me, and she's still running 2:30 marathons, so it's possible, right?
Yeah, but if you asked her what her big dream is, it's probably, you know,
Maybe it's 2:15.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, moving on.
Mud, Sweat, and Bears.
Mud, Sweat, and Bears. I always want to say Mud, Sweat, and Beers. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
me
It kind of
too.
gives me away. I guess because of blood, sweat, and tears. Beers
Oh,
rhymes with tears. Do you think?
no, I think it's just because like you love trail running because they have beer at the end usually.
Yeah.
And so you know the mud and the sweat, and then you have beers instead of
Okay.
bears.
So what's your take on, well, my big take home from this was like trail running in Asia is huge and
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
There are, fantastic events. Seem to be a lot of UTMB
Hmm.
events in China. And Harriet Gaywood, the author of this book, is an incredible person, and that she seems to just, she's 50 plus and just trolls around solo in Asia, doing,
All kinds of really long runs.
yeah,
Yeah.
super crazy volume of races in 2024, doing
Yeah.
these ultra runs at a very steady pace that allows her to hit all the cutoffs and keep, and I think that's a superpower.
Yeah.
Has no ego in her pacing, and she just gets through it. And so has many, many fewer DNFs, almost none compared to other people because she goes nice and slowly and gets it done,
Hmm.
and then has the energy to go again in a few weeks. And
Yeah.
just hearing her story and talking to her was amazing.
I was thinking about takeaways, and so she includes at the back of the book, which actually I don't think we talked about all that much during the interview, but
Mm.
she has a kit essentials list for I guess ultra running, but I guess any trail running you can kind of use this kit because some of it, yes, it's specific maybe to like really long races, but other things are just things that you probably might want to have or might need or whatever. And I guess the two things that I wrote down that were sort of notable in those lists is one of them was a collapsible bowl. So you know, I always think to bring one of those little reusable cups, but sometimes you get to aid
Hmm.
stations and they have like chicken noodle soup, and you're
Yeah,
like, okay, so first I have to drink the cola from
yeah,
my cup, and then I have to
yeah.
they put the chicken noodle soup in my cup. And so, you know, if you have a collapsible bowl, then you can have both and not have to drink one to drink the other afterwards. Anyway, that so I like that collapsible bowl idea. It's something I never really think of. The other thing she put in her list was a battery pack with charging cable for your watch. Well, she put for your watch and phone,
Yeah.
which I think most people, if they're going to bring a battery pack, they think of bringing the charging cable for their phone because it's because they want their phone just in case. Because some trail runs actually have it as
Require you.
mandatory
Yeah.
kit. Yeah, because, you know, if ever something happens, like there aren't
Yeah.
always aid stations very close
SOS
together.
calls. Yeah.
Yeah, so at least if you have your phone and it's working, then you can, you know, you can call someone or you can get help. But charging cable for your watch, like, you know, this happened to me that my watch dies. And let's say you're using your watch for something like navigating, like let's say there's a race that gave you the GPX file ahead
Yeah.
of time and
And
you
they
had
do.
that in your watch, and
Yeah.
because it does happen, then you might want to make sure that your watch has battery. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Those things sometimes are compulsory items in race kits, depending on how far you're going and who you're running with.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe. I guess like I don't really run the really long distances.
I mean, I ran the OCC in the UTMB weekend, and part of the compulsory race kit was an elasticated bandage.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
that you,
yeah.
so if you fell over and I don't know, dislocated your shoulder or something, you could bandage yourself up or have
I
somebody
think it's more
bandage you
if you
up.
twisted your ankle, then
I
you
don't know.
could reinforce it.
Um, so there were a few things like that.
Yeah, you know what other race had that requirement was the The Trans-Selkirks, when we did the 5-day stage race, you had to have one of those
Hmm.
elasticated bandages, I think.
Yeah.
Because I remember trying going to the pharmacy looking for one and I found one. And then we never used it and it was like I never really ran any of those races again. So I ended up using it for when I'm, photographing at a race and it starts to rain. I elasticate the umbrella to my monopod with that elasticated bandage. It's like fantastic because
Okay.
it won't leave anything sticky on your monopod when you take it off. It holds really, really well. And it's kind of like self-adhesive, so you can unwrap it and
And then
then
use it again.
rewrap it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if ever like, you're like, oh, this isn't working. I need to wrap it a
Ah,
different way. You unwrap it and rewrap it.
photography tips 101. It's pretty cool. Yeah, when we ran in the Himalayas, one of the things that we had to have was like a bivy sack. Um, it's like one of these, those foil blankets that you get.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a bit
yep.
like that, but it's an
But it's a
actual
sleeping bag,
sleeping
right?
bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea
I've
being that if you got injured and you're on a Himalayan mountain, you could get cold.
hmm.
If night falls, the temperature goes down very fast. So the idea being, you get in this and it keeps you warm,
Yeah.
um, while somebody goes and gets help.
Yeah, actually, I guess those things are sort of, you can buy it once, probably like if you run these races, like you'll probably never use it.
Yeah,
It'll
I've
always
still
be
got
in
mine.
tag.
It's yeah.
Yeah. So you can have it.
Once
It's
you unwrap
light.
it, it's hard to wrap back up because you can't
Yeah,
get
but
it back down
usually
to
most of the time, like 90% of the time, you don't use any of it.
no,
Like you have all this stuff in your mandatory kit, but you don't use any
no.
of it. So you can reuse it every time you run a race. Like you're just
Yeah,
basically reusing the same.
yeah. You'll never
Eh,
need it until you do.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like this elasticated bandage. Basically, I was just looking for another use for it because, like, what am I going to use it for?
Mm.
I've never twisted my ankle during a race, and I don't really do trail races. So,
You feel like you should go out and try and twist your ankle just so you can use your bandage.
uh,
Without just before we leave Harriet, Gaywood, and Mud Sweating Bears, obviously we talked about a bit about bears. They have sun bears in Asia, so we have brown bears and black bears
hmm
and grizzlies if you're in on the west coast.
yeah,
But they have sun bears, which is sort of different kind of bear, but still one to be nervous about, I suppose. That
yeah.
wasn't what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about karst caves. She did a run where she ran through these giant limestone caves and she was
Oh,
running.
yeah.
She had to go into the cave and she's running kilometers through a caverns, um, kilometers and kilometers. And I just thought this was just so cool.
Yeah.
Um, it would be great to have that experience.
Yeah,
Very
there's
unique.
some really cool places on the earth that, we might never get to see, but we get to hear about in these
Mm,
I feel like trail runs
yeah.
do a lot of this kind of stuff.
Oh, but by the way, I got talking about really cool places. I got accepted for the Sydney Marathon
Woohoo! Good
2026.
stuff. Yep.
Something to plan for in a year's time.
Well, you better start planning now. Don't you need to like buy tickets so that they don't cost like twice the
Yeah.
price or something? I don't
No,
know.
do that later.
Do that later. Okay. Well, this is your warrior,
You have to,
your
you have
warrior
to,
mentality.
yeah, you have to watch the price to see how it's fluctuating and try and get the
Okay.
best,
I'll
best
leave that to
time.
you. Um, so yeah, speaking of twisting ankles, Feet in the Clouds by Richard Askwith. He
Yep.
talks about a special breed of runners called fell runners.
Yes.
And fell runners, basically, fell runners, they run up and down a mountain. That's what fell running is. It's just a race up and down a mountain. Um, and
Fell is just sort of the Northern English version of small mountains, but
yeah, it's not,
very rugged,
yeah,
very exposed.
it's
Um,
not fell because like you fell, although you're probably gonna fall
yes,
because
yes,
because these are not, it's not like trail running where there's like
yeah,
pre-established. I mean, yes, it's sort of like
Sometimes
go
there are
up here,
tracks,
come
but
back down.
sometimes they ignore the tracks because it's quicker to just go straight down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he talks about fell running in this book
Yes.
and just the special kind of breed of runners that enjoy this sport, and then also about his own journey with the Bob Graham Round, which is like a whole bunch of mountains that
Yeah, it's 40,
people.
42 peaks in the Lake District in the UK, and you have to circumvent them, circumnavigate them in 24 hours.
Well, that's kind of like the goal, but it's not a
Yeah,
race or anything. It's really a
a
self,
challenge.
yeah, self-imposed challenge, and
It's a bit like running
runners
the
will,
grid we just did
yeah,
recently. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I guess I kind of discovered this world of fell runners and
Oh,
just how they're a special breed because they
yeah.
just seem to be, I don't know, wired a little differently. Like,
Basically, they're simultaneous sheep farmers and superheroes. That's what
yes, yeah,
they kind of run this ridiculous race for hours and hours and hours, and then they go and tend the sheep afterwards
yeah,
and
or they're
kind of
just
shrug their
very
shoulders.
very like hardcore kind of rugged people that,
Hmm.
they fall down, they break their leg, and in a week they're like running up the mountain in their cast,
Yeah,
this kind of
yeah.
person.
The book is actually not a new book. It's an old book, Feet in the
Yeah.
Clouds. And it was the anniversary edition that we were reading because we'd heard so much about it and we knew it was a sort of classic running book.
Hmm.
So a lot of the history that we get is sort of from the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, which was before the running boom. So these people weren't really in a running scene. They just did this fell running thing. And it seems to be still going on. I guess it's probably getting overtaken by the trail running boom.
Yeah, or maybe it's being enhanced by trail running because,
Yes.
like there must be, I mean, if you like trail running, some part of trail running is, you go up a mountain and you get the view at the top. Maybe some people, the natural progression is you go to fell running. But for sure it's not I guess it depends what kind of trails you're used to because fell running it's not really a nice groomed trail. It's more like
No.
try not to, face plant on your way
Oh, there's
down.
a navigational aspect to it, I think, as well.
I
Yeah.
think there can be, but not always. Sometimes it's straightforward. You just go up and down, and that's the
Yeah,
race.
you can see where you're running. You just can't see whether there's any track to run on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Richard himself did quite a lot of fell running. Um, he lives in the south of England and so would travel up to the north to do these events and had an ambition to run this Bob Graham round.
In under 24 hours.
Yeah, which he during the book we see him have a number of attempts at, which is kind of fun reading.
Yeah. Actually, Richard Askwith is another person that seems to immerse himself in the environment that he wants to write about.
Yeah,
We talked about Bill Donahue,
yeah,
but Richard Askwith does the same thing. Like
true.
he wrote another book we covered about the Czech runner Emil Zatopek, and he actually
Yeah.
ended up like learning the language so that he could comb through,
Mm,
old
documents, get the
documents
real story.
from like the
Yeah.
communist era and interview people that like didn't speak English.
That's
Um,
all. That's also an amazing book. Today we die a little.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of history in that one. The
We
history
need
of
to
the
find another
communists.
book by Richard and get him back on. He's fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's a great talker. Um, on to did you have anything else or should we
No,
talk about how to
let's keep it
run?
moving. How to Run by Scott
How to
Parker.
run. Yeah, so this is not a like a storybook. It's more like a book
It's almost a booklet,
of
isn't it?
yeah, of like thoughts. Um,
He's trying to
And
capture this sort of feeling, the emotional feeling of running a little bit
mhm,
with some poems and observations, as well as some articles about people and his own running.
yeah, and just his own thoughts on things. Like he writes about super shoes and his thoughts on that. And um, he calls these books that he puts out, he calls them projects.
Hmm.
And we talked to him about how to run. So I figured that I would mention something about one of his other projects. So he has like another like little book, like Run for Your Life. It's basically the same kind of idea, but I find that it has more like little thoughts and perspectives on running. Not so many, I guess, article type entries or
Hmm.
poems as well, I mean, I guess you
So
could call this poetry as
you've
well.
been reading extra books without involving me. What,
Actually,
what's going
I
on
didn't
here?
I didn't tell you this
I'm
yet, but
feeling jilted. I'm feeling
I'm
jilted.
I'm reading The Running Shaped Hole. It's a Canadian author, and when I'm done with it, I was gonna make you read it so we could do a podcast on it.
Okay, fair enough. We could do that.
It's a guy. Okay, now we're off topic. Maybe we should just get through these 10 books.
Yeah, we probably should.
Okay, but just quick. Okay, The Running Shaped Hole. It's a guy that actually he becomes an alcoholic quite young, like in his teens, and he becomes like this partier that everybody knows him for being the life of the party, and he's sort of proud of this, except that he ends up being an alcoholic because he goes from drinking, one drink here and there
Yeah,
to just like binge drinking and then binge drinking more days a week, and
bit
he
like
kind of
Ali Bailey.
yeah,
She was sort of
yeah.
socializing and then drinking too much and then yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same thing for him because he kind of found an identity in that. So he reminisces about, just like how he got into it, and it's because he was kind of shy, and I mean, I think like a lot of, I mean, I was shy, but I guess I was lucky because I think what happened was one of his uncles bought them a case of beer, like him and his friend when he was quite young, like not legal drinking age. And for him, it ended up being that he discovered alcohol and he like fell in head first. And then but he did meet a girl. He married her, and the whole time, like he was still an alcoholic. And then one day, I think he ended up having a health scare or something, and it like completely flipped the switch. So obviously his life was falling apart. He didn't stick to anything, but he was really good in school. So he was really good in school, and he was an author, or where he was trying to be published or whatever. But he wasn't very consistent with writing because like he got deeper and deeper into alcoholism, so it kind of disrupted the process. Eventually, he turned that around and he quit alcohol altogether, but he replaced it with food. So he ended
Oh.
up just filling the empty void because he didn't deal
Hmm.
with any of the emotional, and he still had the same
You just
feelings
swapped
of like
one crutch for another.
inadequacy. Yes, but
Yeah.
this one was meant that like he could hold a job, and so he sort of,
Hmm.
he ended up becoming, I don't know, like over 300 pounds. I don't remember what the weight is, but then one day he ends up at the doctor's office again, but this time he has another like sort of health kind of wake up moment. Because they're telling him like he could die, and he's just naturally um, scared of dying, like didn't want to die. And this kind of made him go to the park after so normally his coping mechanism would be that he would like go and get 5 burgers and eat them in his car. But what happened after this doctor's appointment is he went to the park and he walked like something very small. I think he walked like a kilometer or he walked 2 kilometers, and he
Okay.
came home all sweaty to his wife, and he was like, his wife was like, what is going on? Because he's like sweating. She thought he was
Yeah.
having like a heart attack. Um, but he was like, guess what I did? And he's like, I went for a walk, and it sort of started this whole running thing. He became a runner, um, like that. I'm like halfway through the book.
And
So,
so he's emerging from, okay, we'll need to get another update.
yep. Yeah.
Then I won't have to read it at all. You've almost you've done more summarization on the running shaped hole, which is not on our list, than half of the books that are on our list.
Okay, sorry about that. It's because I was telling you
That's
about the
okay.
book.
Either we'll leave it in as an extra, or I'll just snip it out and we can put it on Buy Me a Coffee. I'll see how it goes.
Okay. Okay, so now yeah,
Next
anyway, so
book.
that's the book that I was gonna make you
Sounds
read after I'm
interesting though.
done.
I'll be up for it for sure.
Okay. Um we were talking about How to Run
Yeah.
by Scott Parker, but I wanted to read you something from one of his other projects.
Okay. Fire away.
So so in Run for Your Life, he says, feelings are feelings and thoughts are thoughts. But feelings produce thoughts and thoughts produce feelings. So when you listen to your body, know what language it is speaking. And like for me, that was just the best explanation of how hard it is to listen to your body. And coaches always say that, like, oh, just listen to your body.
Hmm.
But how do you know? Is your body telling you
Yeah.
that, like, are you being lazy because you just feel down and you don't feel like running? Or is your body
Hmm.
telling you like, I'm really wiped? And so you don't feel like you're feeling unmotivated because like you really need the rest. So I don't know. This has always been my struggle. So this like really spoke to me. I have a hard time knowing what my body's saying. It's like, yeah, listen to your body,
That's
but
very cool, but it
uh,
actually said two things, didn't it? It said feelings produce thoughts and thoughts produce feelings. So before you start listening to your body, start with your thoughts.
hmm,
Align your thoughts, reframe your thoughts in the most positive way, push those out to create the right feelings. Now go and listen to your body so that you're not getting from your body an echo of your feelings that are negative.
hmm. Okay, how much do I owe you for consult fees?
Yes. That'll
Uh,
be $100, please. We'll book you back in again for next Wednesday.
Okay, so How to Run by Scott Parker. What tidbit of information did you come away with?
Um, I think it's kind of cool to reflect on how running affects you and makes you feel, and sort of he tries to capture the essence of the sort of emotional feeling of running and the effect it has on you. And I think that kind of led me to reflect on how my running affects me rather than reading his stuff and going, okay, that's good. I was actually involved with it in terms of saying, yeah, I get that. I don't get that bit. I get that bit.
You know what he made me do? He made me question super shoes and my use of super shoes. Because
Yeah.
my marathon goal time, I've had it since before super shoes existed.
Hmm.
And now I'm getting closer to it. But then if I attain it, is it me or is it the shoes? I mean, I know it's a little of both, but how much of it is not me? And so part of me wonders like maybe I should just marathon run in my normal shoes. Anyway, that's kind of what it made me question when
Yeah.
he talked about super shoes. I mean, he was right. Like they do have and the thing is you don't know what kind of an impact they have because for some people are non-responders to these super shoes. So
Yeah.
so it could be that I'm getting no benefit,
Yeah.
or it could be that I'm getting like a 4% benefit or whatever.
Well, unless you run in, the hobnail boots that people used to run in the past, it doesn't really count, does it? You have that legally acceptable equipment, so
Yeah,
that's okay. Don't sweat it.
true. Okay. So that's one less thing I should worry about
Don't
then.
sweat it.
Is that
With
what you're saying?
Yeah, with super shoes, I thought I almost had him converted to super shoes because what I did was he sort of said, technically they're cheating, so I'm not going to wear them. I said, yeah, but you like the emotional effect of running, and super shoes make you feel like a child running again, where you
That's true.
just put
They
them on and
do.
you just bounce along. And suddenly he was kind of interested, wasn't he? Because
Yeah.
he hadn't really thought about it from that angle because he's never put a pair on his feet. So he doesn't know what they feel like. And I was describing to him what they feel like, and I think he was kind of, oh, okay, that sounds interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, so don't go setting yourself back by saying, oh, you have to run barefoot, otherwise it doesn't count.
I never ran barefoot, but
But I mean, don't run in illegal shoes. That's it.
I
Everything
don't
else
even
is
own any, so
everything else is cool.
okay. One less thing to worry
Yeah.
about.
Don't
Thanks,
take the
Alan.
don't take those fancy gels. They weren't invented until
Oh crap,
the
you're right.
90s. Yeah.
Oh wait, but I didn't run until like 95 or 94 or something, so that's okay. They were invented by then.
I think, well, if it's still a meaningful challenge for you with those things in it, then you should keep it like that.
Hmm.
I think you overthink things sometimes. It's my warrior speaking to you.
Yeah. This is why that like worriers and warriors, they need to hang out together
Yeah.
because warriors just shed light on all the blind spots that you're not thinking about. Hey,
Yeah.
some of them might actually be valid, right,
No,
Alan?
I need to have you around because I go, okay, what pace are we running this at? You say, oh, I did the calculation of advanced marathoning, X%, 10% on, that's this number of seconds. I go, oh, great. But otherwise, I'll just have to like wing it.
Yeah. And you'd probably just end up running too fast all the time
Yeah,
because that's
probably
just your
would.
style.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, moving
Yeah.
on.
Okay. A marathon mindset.
By Erica Rasmussen.
So this is another like personal journey book, and so this is Erica's journey with into running.
Yeah.
She came into running for health benefits because she
She lost a lot
wanted
of
wanted to
weight.
be, yeah, I think she was overweight. She wanted to be there for her children,
Hmm.
see them grow up, and I don't know, she was afraid for her health, and she decided to start running. Um, and that's it. Then she kind of like, yeah, she kind of fell into it. She started with a run walk, and then she progressed in distance. Like she did her first,
Yeah.
I don't remember her first 5K, and then started doing marathons.
Yeah. So it's an
Um,
absolute beginner's journey, um, all the way to being quite accomplished.
mhm.
Um,
Except she tries to extract the things she learned that are relevant to life in general. And
yes, and
so,
I think she comes out with a little methodology that everybody can use.
mhm.
Um, she talks about the 5 Gs. I've written them down here so because I always forget one. It's a bit like the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah.
You always forget one of them. Um, the 5 Gs, uh, grit, grind, grace, growth, and gratitude. And she goes through her journey and she layers these things one on top of the other as she goes through. Having sort of mental toughness and then being able to grind it out and then giving yourself the grace to fail and regroup or fall off your intentions, basically being kind to yourself, being in it for the long haul, and and growing into it. And she talks through her own story and how these things apply.
Hmm.
And then gratitude at the end in terms of being grateful for what you are able to achieve rather than disappointed for what you're not able to achieve.
Yeah. And it's another story about how like your reasons to run might change with time, like it did for her. And even, she was pursuing this marathon challenge, and I can't remember she wanted to run a marathon in every state, I think.
Yeah.
And I think she kind of put it on hold at one point because it was like too much. So she put that on hold, but I think she doesn't, she's still active. She's still
Yeah. I mean, she's giving herself some grace at that point,
yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
okay, I've got this big lofty goal, but maybe not at the moment. It's got to take a back seat.
Hmm. And then the one message, I think we might have mentioned this in the podcast because we didn't get to have Eric on, so we kind of had to, talk about the book ourselves. But um, discipline is freedom. So this was a mantra that
Hmm.
Erica's trainer would tell her, and it
Yeah,
basically meant that if you have discipline, then you're free. People think that if you're disciplined, like it's like being in prison, like you're
yeah.
somehow constrained, but
Hmm.
discipline is freedom because you know you just you're not asking yourself all the questions of what if and should I do
Yeah,
this and what should I do? It's like, no,
yeah,
like, it's just part of the routine. Like I get up and I run. It's Tuesday and
yeah.
I get up and I run
And also
because it's Tuesday.
you're choosing, you're controlling.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
not you're not allowing, I don't know, external forces
Everything
to
else to
push you
control.
around.
Hmm.
You're choosing, you're exercising your personal freedom. Kipchoge's talked about this a little bit, I think. I've seen an interview with Eliud Kipchoge where he talks about discipline being freedom.
I think I've
Mm.
seen that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little tiny book, but it has like, a really nice story and also a whole series of
Of
takeaways
takeaways.
that you can use. So
Yeah.
good from that point of view.
So being on a streak of personal stories, Stroke of Luck by Stephen Kelly. This is a book
Hmm.
by a Canadian author again. So Stephen is he's an older runner, but he's been running for like decades, and he ended up having a stroke, and so the book is sort of his journey back from that, but also like his journey prior to that. And then sort of he reflects a lot on um, you know, because strokes don't happen overnight. Like yes, they happen overnight in that like you get a stroke, but oftentimes like it's like heart attacks. It's
They've been building up
you've been building it up,
invisibly.
yeah,
Yeah.
for maybe decades.
Yeah.
And so he kind of reflects because he did have some symptoms that now looking back, he's like, that's probably what that was. It was just,
Yeah. Strange
the earlier,
sensations. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, um,
I learned a new term that I didn't know.
oh,
TIA, transient ischemic attack,
yeah,
which I think is kind of a mini stroke that they say.
yeah, it's transient usually because it means that like you get a blockage,
You
but
get a partial blockage or a
then
blockage that
yeah,
unblocks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a series of these. So and at first like I think the treatment for him was always um anticoagulants, which I guess for the
Mm.
non-pharmaceutical degree people, it just means blood
Blood
thinners.
thinners.
But
Yeah.
they're like not blood thinners, because there are different categories of blood thinners. So he was on basically started just with like aspirin, which is just pretty much, a start. You take a baby aspirin a day, I think was his the first step. But he kept having these like mini strokes, and so he did end up hospitalized, and he did end up with some physical side effects that he had to deal with, but nothing like, he wasn't the traditional stroke patient. And so that was
Hmm.
one of the other things that the book kind of sheds light on is just like, okay, the word stroke, it's a very wide range of
Conditions.
yeah, you don't it doesn't mean the same thing. But of course, like, in the media, you learn to identify stroke by there's an acronym and you look for like drooping in the face and asymmetrical, like if they put their arms up and it's asymmetrical and those kinds of things. But that's not the only way. Like Stephen would have passed all those tests,
Hmm.
but he he had a stroke. So it's very different. So he does a lot of that. Um, there was a fun connection to my past in this book because he's actually the dad of
Or somebody you trained with.
someone I trained with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like such a cool moment because I'm reading the book and I'm kind of towards the end when he mentions Dan, who was running um, for McGill University, and then I was like, I made the connection. I was like, well, Dan Kelly, like Dan Kelly, who's I ran with him.
There you go, 6 degrees of separation.
Yep. Yeah. So that was really cool.
Personally, I've gotten a lot of good feedback on the podcast that we had with Stephen Kelly because he's a very good talker and he explains, demystifies this health situation that he has, and very scary situations that he has and trying to get diagnosed, etc. So that itself was interesting. If you haven't heard the podcast, you should go back and listen to it. But he also says that basically it's highly probable that running has probably saved his life because all the running that he was doing, rather than bringing on some reaction that he wouldn't have had otherwise, people say, oh, don't go running, you'll have a heart attack or something.
Hmm.
Actual actual running has enabled him to develop a whole lot of blood vessels that have bypassed some of the areas that where he's getting capillary blockages and then is getting the stroke effects. And in fact, his opinion is that, running has probably saved his life.
No. So actually that's a bit the case with my dad. My dad had a heart attack in 2019 and a quadruple bypass surgery following that heart attack. Like, so four blockages, not one, four. There are four. My dad has run his whole life. Like when I was a kid, he would go for a run. And when I was old enough to ride my bike, like he would make me come with him. And I remember I used to like not really want to go, but it was non-negotiable. So there I was riding my bike, and he ran too fast. I couldn't ride my bike fast enough because, you know, small legs, small wheels, and I couldn't pedal fast enough. Um, but yeah, so his dad actually passed away quite young, and I think his brother also passed away quite young. And my dad, he's almost 81 now, so this would have all happened. I think he was 74. So right before his 75th birthday. Uh yeah, I'm not sure if I'm getting the age right, but so he had probably a good extra like 15 years or something if you compare to when his dad passed away.
Hmm.
So like for him, he always says like he said it was because I ran. So he gained all those years of extra. And he still has years of extra because he's still alive, you
Yeah, I was
know.
going to
He had
say,
this quadruple bypass, but like
and
he
counting. Yeah.
yeah, he basically he passed out in the locker room of the swimming pool, and they had one of those, well, they had people trained to use a DEA, and they had one on site, which is a DEA is basically an automated defibrillator that a lot of public places will have. And as long as somebody's trained to use it, like, so for him, what happened was they shocked him and he woke up. And this is like in the movies, and it doesn't
Hmm.
usually happen like that in real life, but it did happen for him. And also, like, maybe that recovery. Well, first of all, he was in the right place to have a heart attack. So
Yeah.
that, like, there was a big component of luck. It's not just my dad will have
Hmm.
you believe that, like, he saved himself, but like, there was a
Yeah.
lot of luck involved in this. But at the same time, it's like, well, his heart muscle was good. You know, yes, it was blocked in four places, but he had a good heart muscle
Yeah.
to work with. So
Yeah.
it increased his chance of survival and of, you know, coming back
Yeah.
to like a normal life.
And he's still alive today to annoy you.
Yes, absolutely.
Good man.
Absolutely.
I think what we say about running usually is, running's not going to make you live forever. It's not going to, it's not the answer to every health problem that you could possibly have, but
Hmm.
it's slanting the odds in your favor from in many, many situations. It could be that,
Hmm.
your dad was lucky enough to have his heart attack near to a defibrillator. But if he wasn't also healthy enough because of the running, maybe he needed both of those things.
Yeah,
You'll never
he
know.
probably did because like defibrillators, I mean, I worked in a hospital and I've
It don't work that often.
huh?
They don't work that often,
Yeah, they don't always work.
or they're not successful.
Yeah.
They always
Um
work in terms of they
oh
operate,
yeah,
but
yeah, they work in
they're
terms of
not
the
successful in
voltage.
bringing people back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like CPR. Like yes, CPR can perform you can make miracles happen, but you know, there is some luck and you do have to be,
So
I guess, healthy.
so get
So
out there and run.
get out there and run. Although the people that listen to this podcast, like they're already sold on running, so I've just reinforced that for them.
That's yeah.
And so has Stephen Kelly's book. The only other thing that I wanted to mention was this idea that he brought up of photo runs. So because when he came back
Yes.
to running, he came from like, being very competitive and wanting to push to being a little bit afraid because
Hmm.
of, his health concerns. And so he kind of had to shift his perspective on running and have like, I guess, a little bit different goals. And what he came up with was photo runs. So basically what he does is he goes out now. He doesn't have like, training
Yeah, he
plan and
recommended you a compact camera after we finished
he
the
did.
podcast.
Yeah, he said,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's supposed to write an article to explain why he decides to, bring a point and shoot as opposed to
A
just
phone.
using the phone camera. Because the phone cameras are really good now, right?
Mm.
So you could just have a phone camera. So I'm waiting for him to write that blog. But I
Okay.
did I did read the blog about his camera choice for photo runs. And if I remember, I'll link it in the show notes. And if I don't remember, people can ask on social
You
media.
can look it up. Yeah. Um, okay, so that's 10 books. That's actually 11 books because you did the run shaped hole as well in the middle of it.
But you might not keep that in, so
Oh, that's true. In which case
mm,
I'll have to also cut this piece of conversation out.
yeah, which means that now you're probably just going to keep it there.
It
But
does. It's
yeah,
too
but the
complicated
running
otherwise.
the running shaped hole is really good. So as soon as I finish reading it, because I have to kind of fit it in between the other books that we have to read, I'm passing it to you.
Okay, cool.
And then I wonder if the author will talk to us.
Why not?
Guess we'll have to find out.
Why not? Let's get in touch with the publishers now and set it up. Okay, so anything else to discuss? I guess it's been quite a long chat, so
It has. I think we shouldn't
we
discuss
pro
anything else.
we probably shouldn't go talking about our lives and my grandson
No,
and the
no.
gym and our marathons and
Yeah, we can do a separate marathon chat.
yeah,
Let's just close
I think we
this whole
should.
chat.
Most people have
Okay?
probably fallen asleep by now anyway. Do you
Yeah,
want
you're
to do the
right.
outro?
Thank you for listening to another episode of Running Book Reviews. If you'd like to leave us feedback about how we can improve the podcast or want to request a book that you'd like for us to review in a future episode, please leave us a comment on social media. We are Running Book Reviews on Facebook and Instagram, and on X, we are reviews_running. I still have Twitter written in the notes.
Yeah, I kind of refused to talk about X
Call it
when it
X.
got renamed. I thought it was ridiculous. So.
Yeah. Please also follow us on social media to find out about new episodes when they're released, or you can just subscribe to the podcast on your favorite streaming platform. And if you've been listening to us for a while and want to help us out, you can spread the word. Just tell your friends about the podcast, have them listen to an episode. Hey, you can joint listen to it on a run. As long as you're not really in a public place, because the other people might not appreciate. But you can just, use the speaker on your phone, and why not?
I'll have one earbud each.
Oh, that's an idea. You and your running buddy.
There you go.
There you go. Running buddy goals. We are also on Buy Me a Coffee, where you can go and, see what else we've posted. Not always book related, sometimes running related, sometimes life related.
Yeah, I posted an outtake a few days ago on there. Just something we snipped out, and I thought, there's a few minutes of conversation there. People might be interested. I'll post it on Buy Me a Coffee.
And if you follow us, then you can get an email every time we post something, because it's actually not very often. So I don't know if you really want to spend your time going there every day, because you might be disappointed. Then the other thing is you can leave us a review, because that helps everybody else find the podcast. So reviews on Apple Podcast, or just rate us out of 5 stars, either on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Everything helps.
Sure does.
That's it for now. Bye.
Bye.